"Hands on the table!" The officer's voice cut through the noise, sharp and cold. Two young black men froze, their laughter dying mid-breath. The room went silent, eyes turning, whispers spreading. They looked like any other twins. Same smile, same calm. But behind that calm, something powerful was hidden. Because in just a few moments, the men everyone judged would reveal who they truly were: a Navy SEAL commander and an Army captain. Have you ever seen someone's worth mistaken for their skin? Tell us in the comments. Before we begin, hit subscribe. It's appreciated. It was a quiet Friday evening when the twins, Marcus and Malik, decided to stop by a small bar near the coast. They hadn't seen each other in months. Life had kept them apart. Different bases, different missions, but tonight was about catching up, laughing, and feeling normal again. They wore plain clothes, not uniforms, just two brothers wanting a simple night to breathe. The bar was warm and loud with the hum of voices and music. The air smelled of grilled food and salt from the nearby ocean. They sat by the counter, joking softly, the kind of laughter only twins share, the kind that says, "We made it through." No one around knew who they really were. To the world, they were just two black men in hoodies, tired but smiling. Marcus, the older by 3 minutes, had always been calm and steady. He was a Navy SEAL commander, known for his leadership, the kind of man people trusted without question, once they knew who he was. Malik, on the other hand, was a bit more open, full of stories from his time as an Army captain. They had both seen hard days, but in this moment, they just wanted peace. As they talked, Marcus noticed the stares, quiet, lingering ones from a table nearby. He tried to ignore them. They were used to it, after all. But Malik's smile faded a little. He'd seen this look before, the silent kind that always came before trouble. Still, he brushed it off, hoping tonight would stay light. Outside, the sound of sirens echoed faintly in the distance. Inside, the twins raised their glasses to another day survived. Neither of them knew that in a few minutes, this calm evening would turn into a test, not of strength, but of how deeply people judge what they do not know. If you were in their place, what would you have done? Tell us in the comments. The night had started like any other, but small things began to change. The whispers grew louder from the corner table. A man in a dark jacket pointed once, then twice, pretending not to stare. Marcus noticed, but said nothing. Malik shifted in his seat, uneasy. He'd been trained to stay calm under fire, but this kind of tension, the quiet kind that hides behind fake smiles, always hit different. The bartender, a young woman with tired eyes, avoided looking at them too long. When she did, it was quick, unsure. Marcus tried to ease the mood, thanking her politely each time she refilled their glasses. But something in the air had already changed. An unspoken question hung there. Do they belong here? Minutes passed. Malik checked his phone, showing Marcus a photo of their family barbecue from years ago. They laughed softly. The sound was gentle, human, but even that seemed to draw attention. From the corner, the man in the dark jacket picked up his phone. He whispered something, glanced again, then slipped outside. Marcus's jaw tightened. He'd seen that look too many times, the one that called for help when none was needed. The door swung open 10 minutes later. 2 police officers walked in, their faces unreadable. The chatter in the bar fell quiet. The man who'd made the call pointed toward the twins. Malik felt his stomach drop. The officers moved closer, hands near their belts. Marcus spoke first, voice calm but firm. "Everything okay, officer?" No one answered. One of them scanned the room, then focused on Malik's bag under the stool. "Mind if we take a look?" he asked, though it wasn't really a question. Malik's heart pounded. He'd been here before, not this bar, but this moment. The slow doubt in their eyes, the need to prove his right to just exist. Marcus placed a steady hand on the table. "You can check," he said quietly. "We have nothing to hide." As the officers leaned closer, the room held its breath. Every sound, the hum of the fridge, the drip of a glass, seemed too loud. The bag held nothing but keys and a folded jacket. Still, the suspicion lingered, like smoke that refused to fade. Malik's hands trembled under the table. He wasn't afraid of violence, he'd faced far worse, but he hated the feeling of being seen as less than human. The bartender looked away, her lips pressed tight. The man in the corner smirked, whispering something under his breath. Marcus caught it, but stayed still. His training told him patience. His heart told him restraint. He could have ended it with one word in his rank, his title, but that wasn't the point. He wanted to see how far their judgment would go. One of the officers stepped back, eyes narrowing. "You two from around here?" Marcus nodded. "Born and raised in this country, sir." A pause. The kind that carries centuries of weight. Then something shifted in Malik's gaze. It wasn't fear anymore. It was sadness. The kind that comes from knowing you've done everything right, and still it isn't enough. He looked around at the faces watching, people pretending to sip their drinks, pretending not to care. He thought of the times he'd led men into danger, risking his life for the same flag that now hung above the bar. And yet here, in this small room filled with quiet stares, he felt more exposed than ever. Have you ever carried pain in silence, hoping one day someone would truly see you? Tell us in the comments. The silence grew heavy as one officer stepped closer, his hand resting near his holster. The whole bar seemed to hold its breath. Marcus and Malik sat still, calm but alert, their hearts beating steady, their minds calculating every move. They knew one wrong gesture could change everything. Then the officer spoke, slow, doubtful. "You sure you're not hiding something?" His tone wasn't angry, just dripping with suspicion. Malik looked down, jaw clenched. The uniform in front of him reminded him of his own, the one he wore proudly, the one that was supposed to mean respect. But in this moment, it meant nothing. Marcus finally exhaled, the kind of breath that carries both patience and pain. He reached slowly into his pocket, pulling out his wallet. The officer's hand twitched toward his weapon. The room gasped. Marcus stopped, voice calm but firm. "Easy, officer. I'm just reaching for my ID." He laid the small card on the counter, the golden emblem catching the dim light. United States Navy, Commander Marcus Hayes. The room froze. The second officer blinked, eyes darting from the card to Marcus's face. Malik followed quietly, opening his jacket to reveal a small badge clipped inside, U.S. Army, Captain Malik Hayes. For a long moment, no one spoke. The bar's silence wasn't just quiet, it was shame. The officer's expression shifted, confusion first, then regret. The man who had made the call looked away, his smirk gone. The bartender's eyes filled with tears she didn't let fall. Marcus looked at them, not angry, not proud, just tired. "We've both spent our lives protecting this country," he said softly. "But sometimes it feels like it forgets to protect us." No one moved. The truth hung in the air, heavy and raw. Malik's hands finally stopped shaking. He stood, placing a few bills on the counter. The officers stepped aside, their silence louder than any apology. As the twins walked toward the door, the bar remained frozen in stillness, a stillness filled with reflection, discomfort, and awakening. What would you have done if this truth was suddenly staring back at you? Tell us in the comments. Outside, the cool night air wrapped around Marcus and Malik like a quiet comfort. The sound of waves hit the shore not far away, soft and steady. Neither of them spoke for a long time. They didn't need to. The silence said everything. The anger, the sadness, the tiredness that came from being questioned again and again for the same reason. Malik looked back at the bar, lights glowing behind the glass. "Do you think they'll ever understand?" he asked softly. Marcus sighed, his breath turning white in the cold air. "Maybe not all of them," he said. "But maybe tonight someone in there will think before they judge the next time." They walked side by side toward the parking lot, their steps even, their shoulders squared, the same way they had walked into danger so many times before. But this felt heavier, not because of fear, but because of the truth they carried. That even uniforms and medals can't always shield you from the world's blindness. Back inside, the bartender stood frozen, replaying what she had just seen. The officers quietly left, their heads lowered. The man who had made the call looked at his drink, unable to meet anyone's eyes. For the first time, silence in that bar wasn't comfortable. It was full of thought. As the twins drove away, the radio played softly, an old song about hope and home. Malik leaned his head back, staring at the stars through the window. "It's crazy," he whispered. "How people can see your face but never see your story." Marcus nodded, his eyes fixed on the road ahead. "That's why we keep showing up," he said. "So maybe one day they'll finally look deeper." Their car disappeared into the dark, leaving behind a night that no one in that small bar would ever forget. Because sometimes, change doesn't come from speeches or protests. Sometimes it starts in the quiet, when shame meets truth, and hearts begin to see. What part of this story stayed with you the most? Tell us in the comments. Show some love with a like and subscribe to stay inspired.